So in this video I'll be showing you how to upload images using PHP and MySQL. So I'll just upload a new image to show that working. So click the choose file, select the image, click the upload button and head back to see that extra image I've uploaded has been added. So I'll be showing you how to build this PHP application. As I'm currently using XAMPP, I'm going to create a new folder inside the htdocs folder. I'm going to call this folder image-uploader. Inside the VS Code application, I've opened the image uploader folder so I can make a start on the project. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create an index.php file. Use an exclamation mark and hit enter to generate some boilerplate HTML code. In the Chrome web browser I'm going to do a search for Pico CSS. So this is the CSS framework I'm going to use. So if I just click this to go to the site. So the reason why I'm using Pico is because it will add default styling to the HTML tags. So if I go to the docs, click on the classes version link. And if I scroll down, I'm after the CDN version, so I'm going to click on the copy icon. So inside the index.php file, I'm going to paste that link tag. So I'm going to add a header tag, and inside the header tag, I'm going to add a h1 tag. I'm going to call this image uploader. Also going to add this to the title tag as well. So I'm also going to add main tags. Within the main tag I'm going to add a link. If I type in as a URL localhost /image-uploader, that should load up the page. And here you go, you can see what the page looks like at the moment. So the next step will be to add the upload.php file. So click new file in upload.php. So I'm going to copy the contents of the index.php file and paste it inside the upload.php. I've changed the h1 and title tags to upload new image. I've changed the link so I can navigate back to the index.php file. Inside the index.php file, I was meant to add ./upload.php, and inside the upload.php I've changed the link to ./, and those links actually work. So I'll just show you in Chrome. If I click the upload link, that'll go to the upload page, and if I click go back, that'll go back to the index page. So underneath the link, I'm going to add a div, and I'm just going to add a bit of styling to it as well. I'm going to add a max width, and I'm also going to add in a margin top. So I'm going to add in a form, so if I type in form, and in the drop down I'm going to select form post. So the action will be ./upload.php, method will be post. And I need to add another attribute, so it'll be enc type part form dash data. So this is going to be needed to upload a file. So within the form I'm going to add a file input. For the name and ID I'm going to put image, and I'm going to add an accept attribute. So I've just added all the image file types within the accept to restrict the files to only images. So next tag I'm going to add is submit input. So for the value I'm going to put in upload. So if I go to the upload.php in the browser, this is how the form's looking at the moment. So now that we have the form, the next step will be to start writing PHP to handle the file upload. So I'm going to go to the top of the upload.php file, I'm going to add in some PHP tags. So I'm going to do a check for the request type. So request underscore method. And I want to check the request method that it's a post. So within this if statement, I'm going to get the file information. So to get the file information, you want to use $_files. So the first key will be the field name, which would be image. And the next one will be whatever data I'm after. So that will be the name, which should represent the file name. So I'm going to set up the file path. So this will be the file path to show the image on the browser. So I'm going to add a new folder to this project. So if I click the new folder, and I'm going to name this folder images. So this will be where the images get stored. So the next step will be to move the uploaded file to the images folder. So you can use the move uploaded file function. So temp name, that will represent the current location of the uploaded file. So for the file path, I've gotten rid of the dots so that I can use it in the move uploaded file function. So this path will represent where the image will be stored. So the next step will be to store the image file path to the database. So I'm actually going to need to create some code so that I can actually work with the database. So what I need to do next is use PHP and MyAdmin to create the database table. So on the XAMPP control panel, on the line that says MySQL, I'm going to click the admin button, and that should take me to PHP and MyAdmin. So in PHP MyAdmin, I'm going to use the test database, so I'm going to click on that. So I'm going to create a new table, so the table name will be images and I'll have 3 columns. So I'm going to click the create button, and I'm going to set up the fields. So ID, file name, URL. So I'm going to tick the auto increment tick box for the ID. File name will be varchar, and I'm going to give it 150 as the length. URL, I'm going to set that as a text. Okay, I'm going to click the save button to create that table. And you can see the images database table has been created. Inside of VS Code, I'm going to click on the new file icon to add a new file. I'm going to call this file dbconnect.php. So I'm going to start off by adding in the database details. So host, db name, is password. Those should be the database details that I need. Because I'm using PDO, I need to create a data source name. Okay, so with the data source name, you pass in the database name and the database host. So the next thing will be to create a new PDO object. So, and I need to pass in the DSN variable, DB username, DB password. And that should be all I need to connect to the database. Back inside the upload.php file, I'm going to require that new file. So I'm going to use __dir__ to get the current directory. /dbconnect.php. After including the dbconnect file, I can start writing some code to connect to the database. So I'm going to create insert into images. So file name, URL, values, question mark, comma, question mark. So with that PDO object, I'm going to call the prepare method and then pass in that MySQL statement. With the PDO statement, I'm going to call the execute method, and I'm going to pass in the file name and file path. That result variable that gets returned, I'm going to do a check on it. So if the MySQL insert works, I'm going to output a message. Image has been uploaded. If the file path doesn't get added to the database, then I'm going to add image could not be added. So after scrolling down to the HTML, above the form tag, I'm going to show that message. So I need to check to see if that message variable was set. I'm going to use the article tag, as that should get styled by the CSS. Within the article tag, I'm going to add a div, and then within the div we'll output whatever the message is set to. So at this point, the upload image form should be functional, so I'm going to try and test it out with an image. So if I click the choose file button, so I've got some test images here that I'm going to use, so I'm going to select this one, click the open button, and that image will be added to the file input. So now I'm going to click the upload button, and it seems like it's worked, as I've got the image has been uploaded message. So back in PHP MyAdmin, if I go to the images table, you can see that the file path has been added for that new image that has been uploaded, so that's all worked. So the next step will be to show all of the images in a list in the index.php page. So back in VS Code, I'm going to switch to index.php. So at the top, I'm going to add some PHP tags. So I've just copied and pasted the same statement from the upload to include the DB connect file. Okay, so the next step will be to use PDO to get all the images. So select all from images. So I'll be using the PDO prepare method and then pass in the MySQL statement. So with the returned PDO statement, I'm going to call the execute method, and I'm going to use the PDO statement again and call the fetch all method. For the fetch all method, you need to specify a type, so I'm going to use the fetch underscore ASOC type. It assigns to the images variable. So in the HTML, underneath the link, I'm going to add div tag. Just add a bit of styling to the div, so I'll just add a gap, so a margin top of 40. So I'm going to do a for each loop through that images variable. So images as image. Actually, what I'm going to do is move that styling from that div and add it to this div. So it'll be another div, and then this will output the file name. I'm going to be using the image tag, within the src attribute, I'm going to output the image URL. For the alt attribute, I'm going to use the file name. Okay, I've just made a mistake, so I've actually named this statement PDO when it should be SQL, so I've just changed that right now, and I'll fix that error. Also, I've updated the src attribute, so I've added a dot before the URL, so to fix the file path for the images. So after refreshing the index page, the image is showing, but it's a bit too big, so what I'm going to do is restrict the size of the image. So in the image tag, I'm going to add another attribute, so I'm going to add width, and I'm going to set this to 300. Back on the index page, I've restricted the width of the image, and I've also added the other two test images that I've had, so you see a list of images showing up on the index file. I hope this video has been helpful to you. Leave a comment below if you have any queries or any issues, and thanks for watching.